Little Nightmares 3 takes us on a thrilling yet terrifying adventure through the Spiral, locations straight out of a nightmare. This game tackles themes of the power of imagination and friendship, how even in your darkest times, a friend can be the light you need. It's so cool and adds an extra layer of complexity to the story. That being said, what was the story? What does it mean? And was it all just a bad dream? Well, let's dive into this little nightmare. Our story begins as Lo and Alone both wake up after traveling through the mirror behind them. Lo opens a piece of paper, a map if you will. I'll talk about this more later on, but for now this paper holds their destination. Together they step outside into Necropolis, a desert wasteland where the only inhabitant left is the one that caused the destruction. But we will come back to this. The two venture deeper and deeper into the city, solving puzzles and working together to move forward. Along the way they see the past inhabitants. However, they're turned into stone, frozen in time. If you look close enough, you can even see their organs and or brains, meaning only the outside of their bodies are turned into stone. This also means when they are turned into stone, they might still be alive underneath. Their heart still beats as they perish to starvation underneath a layer of stone. It's pretty dark stuff if you think about it, and it makes you wonder what could have caused all this destruction. Well, the two get a sneak peek of this monster and watch as a massive hand grabs a crow, snatching it away. They continue and quickly learn that, of course, if this monster sees you, it will turn you into stone. They narrowly escape and head underground. Here we learn this is where some of the people went to presumably escape the monster. Well, them and the bugs. Lo and Alone head back up and finally come face to face with the monster baby. It's a porcelain doll with Medusa-like abilities, that being turning you into stone if it looks at you. But you'll notice it can only do this from one eye. This monster baby is what destroyed the city. After it grabs the two, it drops them and suddenly, Lo wakes up. He's on a bed in a room at an institution. On his bed are a few crayons and a drawn-on piece of paper. This is of course foreshadowing. He then hears someone coming, so he hides under his bed and the nightmare continues. The two wake up from being thrown down by the monster, so they continue forward, encountering the monster baby a few more times until it ultimately gets distracted by a bunch of crows, causing it to wander off. Remember, it's just a baby, so its attention span is extremely small. Now, did the two get lucky, or did Lo have something to do with it? Perhaps he has a connection to the crows, but I'll let you decide that one. With the monster baby now distracted, Lo takes them both through this mirror, which brings them to an entirely new location, so Lo is able to travel using mirrors. Keep this in mind. Upon breaking through, Lo immediately makes sure Alone is okay and helps her up. This shows just how caring Lo really is, and we will see more of this later on. The two continue forward and see the silhouette of the supervisor, and you'll quickly notice something is not right about her. She has 6 arms, which help enforce her grueling vigilance. She is of course the supervisor of this candy factory, keeping it running non-stop. She also makes sure kids like Lo and Alone are not causing havoc. The two make it past her, sneaking their way through unseen. While deep inside, you'll notice this is no ordinary candy. It's mixed with human body parts. Production never stops. Ingredients are smashed into colorful slurries, then spun into glossy twisted treats. Now, in order for Lo and Alone to escape, they need to shut down power to all the cameras in the factory. When doing so, this causes the supervisor to go crazy as she's no longer able to see anything. In a fit of rage, she shows her true colors. The supervisor loses her bottom half and embraces her true self, practically turning into a spider. What follows are some extremely tense chases as Lo and Alone end up crushing her, turning the supervisor into a sweet treat. In one of her rooms, we can learn she never had a bottom half. She is just the upper body with 6 arms/legs to move around. She makes herself skirts out of metal and cloth with wheels attached underneath. She is a fascinating monster, something straight out of a nightmare. After making it through the candy factory alive, the two again travel through a mirror. However, it takes Alone a few extra seconds to come through, and she even gets knocked out. This clearly worries Lo, but he's extremely relieved as she wakes up and hugs her. It's a touching moment and hints at just how much she means to him. The mirror brings them into the Carnival. While here we see a few familiar faces, the gnomes. One helps the two progress, and in return we activate the heater and embrace the moment. It's nice, however also sad, since each one of the pillows used to see a gnome. From here, Lo and Alone make their way forward, noticing many different puppets, dolls, and carnival things. And of course, the puppets even come to life. We see them all throughout the carnival, and they mainly cater towards the guests, keeping them entertained. They more or less run the show in every way, but don't get too close to them. Now, this carnival is an old rundown fun fair. It has rides, attractions, and food. However, like I said, it's completely run down and littered with trash. It's also revealed that the candy here is from the previous candy factory. Now, the two find themselves underneath the carnival, and this is where the kin resides. He is a deformed person known as a ventriloquist. However, his puppet has a mind of its own and can even detach from him. Known as Mini Kin, this creature is ravenous and will attack anything it sees. It also seems to have its own digestive system since it's able to eat, meaning Mini Kin is truly its own being. The kin presumably runs the carnival, and a sinister detail about him is that the guests, rather the herd as they're also known, once they perish, he takes their teeth out and sort of collects them, if you will. Why does he do this? Well, you can't eat teeth. Now, Lo and Alone eventually get captured by the two, and upon escaping, we learn the dark reality of this monster. He enslaves children and forces them to perform. You can even find one locked inside of a cage underneath his table. It's dark and forces the child to work against their will. Lo and Alone ultimately get chased out when escaping and jump onto a hot air balloon. Avoiding gunshots, they set Mini Kin on fire and make it out alive. It's revealed that the entire carnival is on a ship that's flying in the sky. Although their hot air balloon gets struck by lightning and Lo wakes up again. In front of him are three drawings: Necropolis, the candy factory, and the carnival. Suddenly he hears someone again, so he hides the drawings. Once they leave, he brings them back out, and we see a doll that looks just like Alone. This makes you wonder, was it all just a nightmare? Are the places we went just drawings from Lo's imagination? Is Alone even real? These are all questions that will be answered soon enough. The two wake up again, but this time they're outside of the institution. It's run down and destroyed. As they wander the halls, you can hear echoes of the children's haunted past, the children that used to stay here. But this is not a happy place. It's filled with darkness, horrific memories, and pain. Still, here are the staff, mindlessly and carelessly roaming around. It's a reflection of who those people are in this world. They don't care about the kids, they just do as they're told. Told by the doctor. The two then get a sneak peek of him and his massive size. Now, while Lo and Alone are here, they see a few ghosts of other children. These are the echoes I had mentioned. They haunt this place now. The two progress deeper and find Lo's room from before. If we open the hatch, out falls the drawings and the doll of Alone. Once Lo touches it, the surrounding area turns bright. With it, the two can get into areas that are seemingly locked. It sort of changes reality, bringing light to darkness. And that's just it. This doll is a beacon of light for Lo. It represents their friendship, how Alone brings Lo happiness. No matter how dark things get for him, Alone brightens his day. Hence why it literally brightens up the world around us. It's not just a tool, but a symbol of light, and above all, their friendship. So they use it to help them continue. They encounter parts of the doctor again until they come face to face with him. He reveals an eye on his hand, and Lo shoots an arrow at it. Keep this eye in mind. After escaping, they decide to face the monster one last time together. The doctor comes down from the ceiling and chases them again. The two make it to a mirror, and right before they try to go through it, the doctor hits it away. So they work together and ultimately defeat him. But when knocking him down, they too fall. Both embrace each other as Lo wakes up again. He is back on his bed holding the doll of Alone. He then gets up and grabs his drawings, as Alone can be seen laying on his bed right where her doll was. They both start coloring the drawings. This confirms that Alone was never real. She is a figment of Lo's imagination created by him through this doll. But the nightmare does not stop here. The two wake up after the fall, and this of course is not real. None of it ever was. Lo tries to pull Alone through the mirror one last time. However, she doesn't make it and gets pulled back. The mirror shatters as Alone fades away. Next to her clothing is the map or picture from the start of the game, their destination, the place they have been trying to make it to. It's a house where both of them can run away and live freely together. Then the credits roll. However, after the credits, we see Lo who made it to the house, but of course, Alone is not there. He tries to put the mirror back together in hopes that she will come through, but as we saw, she is now gone. With that, Little Nightmares 3 comes to an end. So what does it all mean? Well, in reality, Lo is locked inside this room, a room inside the institution. This facility keeps kids like Lo locked away. Why? Well, that's up for interpretation. Maybe it's because of Lo's imagination. They're trying to study it because of how powerful it is. However, that's just me throwing something out there. There are clearly references to past characters, especially in the Institute with Otto and No One. But that's lore you won't really find in any of the games, so don't feel bad if you have no idea what I'm talking about. The Little Nightmares lore runs very deep, way beyond the games. But for these videos, I like to keep things game focused so the majority of people understand what's going on. This is supposedly a brand new story within the universe, so any connections to previous characters will remain a theory for now. I mean, who knows, everything in here could be new and setting up a sequel. Regardless, Lo's time in the Institute was not pleasant, so to keep him company with the power of his imagination, he created Alone. In reality, she is the doll. However, when he goes to sleep, she comes to life. Like I said before, Alone was made by Lo to represent light. She brings him joy in his darkest times. She gives him strength and happiness. This is represented through the doll we find of her during his dream. But above all, Alone is Lo's friend. A friend that helps him through his darkest times. Another point of this is when Lo drops the map as he's discouraged. But Alone picks it up because she won't let him give up. It's proof that she keeps him going. It's a message to us, the player, as friendship is one of the most important things in life. The people around us are what brighten our day, even during our darkest times, and Little Nightmares 3 represents this perfectly. So, as Lo is stuck inside this room, he would draw these realities and bring them to life inside of his dreams. Necropolis, the Candy Factory, the Carnival, and even the Institute. They're all locations Lo must escape through to get to his happy place, a home with his friend. So he creates Alone to help him through this journey. Her name is Alone because without her, he is just that. Alone, something he likely fears most. The two work together and make their way through each location, defeating the monsters, getting closer and closer to this house. Traveling through the mirrors is just traveling from dream to dream. Throughout each location, you might have noticed the symbol of an eye all over the place. This is the eye from the doctor. He was always watching. You see, the Institute was of course a real place and an imagined one. It was the final obstacle before the two could make it to the house, a happily ever after. In the real world, it also represents the final obstacle. If Lo escapes, he would be happy again. The whole story is Lo's imagination of escaping this reality. That's why the doctor looks over everything. That's why we always see his eye. It's because he's always watching Lo. So in his dream, Lo is somewhere else, when in reality, he is stuck inside this room being watched. Now, of course, this is Little Nightmares, so a happily ever after was never going to happen. Lo makes it to the house, but without Alone. This was his one friend, his light, his happiness. But she's now gone because she was never real. This makes him Alone. She represents what he is, all by himself. And even in his dream, he can't escape his reality of being alone. What did you guys think of Little Nightmares 3? I thought it was predictable, but I really enjoyed it. I'll be diving a lot deeper into the characters and locations in upcoming videos, so make sure to stay tuned for those. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like horror game content like this, please consider subscribing. Also, I have a Discord server, so if you want to chat with me, I recommend joining. And if you want to support the channel more, you can become a member. Don't forget to follow my Twitter @TerrifiedT. Thanks for watching.